Growing up, I always imagined my wedding day being this perfect blend of laughter, tears, and overwhelming joy. Not just because I would be marrying the love of my life, but because it would be the one day where every person I loved would be there, in one room, all for me. My parents were always at the center of that dream, my dad walking me down the aisle, his hand shaking slightly with pride. My mom adjusting my veil with watery eyes and telling me I looked beautiful. That was the image I held onto since I was a teenager, dreaming of white dresses and floral arches. But life, it turns out, has a twisted way of reminding us that the people we count on the most can sometimes break our hearts in ways we never saw coming. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video? It started small, as these things often do. Just a phone call from my sister Emily one Tuesday afternoon. She sounded tense, her voice tight and rushed. "Oliver isn't acting normal," she said. "He hasn't eaten since last night, and he just lies there. I'm so worried." Oliver was her cat, a large, fluffy tabby she'd adopted 12 years ago after a bad breakup. From that point on, Oliver became her emotional lifeline. She talked about him like he was her child, and while I always found it a bit over the top, I never judged her for it. We all need comfort, and Oliver gave her that. I reassured her the way any sister would, told her it was probably just a stomach bug or something minor. "Take him to the vet and keep me posted," I said, not giving it much more thought. After all, my wedding was 4 weeks away. I was up to my neck in checklists, dress fittings, catering menus, and last-minute guest changes. The idea that my sister's cat could somehow interfere with one of the biggest days of my life never even crossed my mind. 2 days later, my mom called me, not to talk about the wedding, not to ask about the seating chart or the rehearsal dinner. Number she called to tell me she was worried. About Emily. "She's really shaken up," my mom said. "Oliver still isn't eating. She's barely sleeping. She cried all night." I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, blinking in disbelief. "Mom," I said gently, "I get that she's upset, but he's a cat. And the vet said it's a mild kidney infection. They gave her meds. He's not dying." There was a long pause. "Still," she said, her tone clipped, "you know how close they are. She's fragile right now. We're trying to support her." I bit my tongue, told her I understood, and changed the subject back to the wedding. But a seed of worry had planted itself. It was subtle, but it was there, a strange tightness in my chest I couldn't shake. Over the next week, the situation spiraled. Every time I called my parents, they were either at Emily's apartment or running errands for her. My dad, who had promised to help with the wedding finances, suddenly became too busy to talk numbers. My mom started avoiding the topic of travel altogether. Finally, 12 days before the wedding, I asked directly, "You're still coming, right?" The silence on the other end was like a punch to the stomach. "We hope to," my mom finally said. "Hope to?" That wasn't a yes. That was a red flag waving in my face. I remember pacing my living room that night, ranting to my fiancé, who was trying to stay calm but clearly alarmed. "It's a cat," I kept repeating. "A cat. I love animals, but how is this even happening? How is my family not here for me?" He hugged me, told me not to jump to conclusions, that maybe they were just caught up in the moment, but I could feel it. Something was unraveling. A week before the wedding, I called my mom again. "I need to know," I said, my voice firm. "Are you coming or not? I can't have this uncertainty hanging over me." Her voice cracked. "Emily isn't doing well. Oliver is worse. She's stopped eating. She barely speaks. Your father and I just don't feel right leaving her right now." I remember staring at the wall like it would split open and reveal the logic in her words. But there was none. My parents, who had been there for every birthday, every school play, every scraped knee, were telling me they would miss my wedding because my sister's cat was sick. Not dying. Not in an emergency room. Just sick. And because my adult sister was emotionally dependent on him, they felt obligated to stay. That night, I cried harder than I ever had in my life. I wasn't just mourning their absence. I was mourning the loss of something deeper. That unshakable trust I had in my parents to show up for me, no matter what. That belief that family comes first. that some moments are bigger than comfort zones or emotional fragility. I called Emily, one last desperate attempt to make her understand. "Please," I said, "I want you there. I want all of you there. Can you really not come?" Her voice was hollow. "I just can't leave him. He needs me." I hung up, numb. The wedding day arrived, bright and beautiful. The sky was clear, the venue perfect. I looked like the version of myself I'd always dreamed of becoming. And yet, there was an emptiness I couldn't shake. Every time someone said, "You look stunning," all I wanted to do was ask, "Do I look like someone whose parents just didn't show up?" I stood at the end of the aisle, surrounded by love from friends, from my in-laws, from people who chose to be there no matter what. But the absence, it echoed louder than the music. They didn't walk me down the aisle. They didn't see me promise my life to the man I love. They didn't see the tears in my eyes or the joy in my smile. They weren't there to hold me when the weight of everything came crashing down the minute the dance floor emptied. And the cruelest twist? Just as we were about to cut the cake, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. "Oliver purred today. First time in days." Emily smiled a little. "We're watching her favorite movie now. Hope your big day went beautifully. We love you." That was it. That was all they had to say. They didn't know it yet, but they had missed something irreplaceable, something they would never get back. And that's when I knew. What they missed would haunt them far more than it hurt me. At least, that's what I told myself to survive the ache they left behind. Weeks passed after the wedding, and though I tried to move on, there was always a shadow over the memories. I avoided my parents' calls at first, answering only with short texts. Part of me wanted to scream, to tell them how much it hurt that they'd chosen a cat over their daughter's once-in-a-lifetime moment. But another part of me, a deeper, more tired part, just didn't have the energy to explain what they should have already known. It wasn't until a month later that we finally spoke. They invited me to lunch, and I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. When I walked into the cafe, they both stood up with cautious smiles. I sat, my face blank, my heart guarded. My mom reached across the table to hold my hand. "We're sorry," she said, her eyes welling up. "We thought we were doing the right thing. Emily was so broken and we panicked. We thought we'd make it up to you later." That was the moment I realized they truly didn't understand. Some things can't be made up. You don't get do-overs on your child's wedding day. I told them calmly, "You weren't just absent physically. You made me feel like I was second choice in my own life. Like I didn't matter as much as someone's emotional support animal. I needed you, and you weren't there." My dad's face dropped. I think, for the first time, the reality hit him. He had missed giving his daughter away, not because of tragedy, not because of emergency, but because of misplaced priorities. They both apologized again, over and over, but the damage was already done. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just different, and they could feel it. Then came the twist no one expected. A few weeks later, Emily called. Her voice was shaky. "Oliver passed away last night," she whispered. "He went peacefully, but I think I messed everything up." I said nothing, letting the silence speak. She started crying. "I missed your wedding. I thought I was doing the right thing, but now he's gone and I wasn't even there for you. I'm so sorry." Maybe life has a way of teaching us through consequences. Maybe sometimes the things we obsess over leave us anyway, and we're left with the broken pieces of what really mattered. I forgave her. Eventually, I even forgave my parents. But our relationship changed. I stopped waiting for them to show up like they used to. I stopped building dreams with them in the center. I still love them. But I learned that love isn't always enough when trust is cracked. They missed my vows, the first dance, the cake, the laughter. They missed the moment I became a wife. And I think, deep down, they'll regret what they missed for the rest of their lives. Because the photos they didn't take, the tears they didn't wipe, the walk down the aisle that never happened, those memories exist without them, and always will. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video.